Hello, it's me, Brittany B. Welcome back to my channel. As you can tell by the title of today's video, I do have 4 more crockpot recipes that you can add to your list that will be great for those busy weeknights. I know it's been a long time since I have consistently uploaded to this channel, and I do plan to also address that on this channel, but that's not for today's video. We're gonna go on and jump right into those recipes because that's what you are here for. So let's go on and jump right in. So it's been a while since I've actually made this recipe on YouTube, but I make it all the time. And this time I just kind of wanted to give you like a detailed view and a detailed just description of how I make the Mississippi roast. Now you can start with any type of cut of roast beef that you want to use. It goes without saying, but definitely wash your meat before starting to cook with it. Here you just see me browning it. I like to brown my roast before I put it into the crock pot. I did season it, and I will list the seasonings that I used. I just put some I believe it was canola oil in the bottom of my skillet, and I just browned it just like normal. Just make sure it just gets brown enough on both sides to give it that color that you need. Here you see me just adding in some beef broth. I am going to put the rest of the ingredients on the screen, so make sure that you get a screenshot of that. And guys, here is the Lipton onion soup dip and mix. Guys, if you watch my Instagram stories, you would know that I believe this is like the holy grail of all crockpot recipes. You can even use this with a lot of your baked dishes. Guys, that's the secret sauce. Like if you want to step your recipes up in the crockpot or your baked dishes, get you some of that Lipton onion soup and dip mix. That is the secret sauce. It is good on everything, okay? So you're going to see that a couple of times here, okay? So just be aware that I use it, and I advise you to use it too, okay? It just gives it an extra burst of flavor. Here I'm adding some banana peppers. I also added in a packet of ranch dressing dip as well, and you're just going to cover it and cook it on low for 6 to 8 hours, and that's it. And here's the finished product. Guys, like I said, you can change up the type of cut of the roast that you want to use. I'm really not sure what cut of roast this one was right off top, but it is a thicker cut. So as you can see, it's a lot of meat within there, and that lasts like maybe 2 to 3 days in my house. And you can pair it with any sides of your choice. I like to use the crock pot for my main dish, and then just fire up the stove for the side dishes. You know that when you come here to my channel, you're always going to get hearty meal ideas. I know a lot of people don't eat red meat, and that is totally fine, but you can still use a lot of these same recipes and seasonings and flavor combinations for white meat dishes as well. So just keep that in mind. Okay, on to the next. It's another red meat dish, but it's actually beef ribs. And for the most part, I use pretty much the exact same recipe that you just saw for the Mississippi roast. So I got these beef ribs on sale at Sam's Club, so I had to get them. And as you can see, I'm doing the same thing. They're already seasoned, they're already washed, seasoned, and now I'm just going to brown them on the stove before I put them into the crock pot to cook. All right, so after adding all of the ribs to the crock pot, I am gonna put the remaining oil in there too with it because it has some more of the seasonings and the juices in there. So we wanna make sure we get all that in there. And I'm also going to add these red onions, y'all. Red onion is also a clutch. Red onion gives you a lot of flavor. And here you see the onion soup and dip mix. Again, like I told you, I use it on almost every single crock pot recipe, especially if it's like a beef type of recipe. Again, here is the ranch, same thing that you saw with the Mississippi roast, and I'm also going to add in the banana peppers as well. So it's pretty much the same setup. You can add or take away the onions if you want. I did not use the onions with the roast, but I used them with the beef ribs. And that's the thing about cooking, like you figure out what works, you use what you have, you figure out the flavor combinations that you enjoy, and you just cook according to that. Like, you do you in the kitchen. That's it. And here is the finished product. Again, I just paired it with some sides. These are actually like the instant shells and cheese. I did not bake those at all. This was like a weeknight, so we did need something very quick because I am a working mom, so I have to cook when I get home from work, and that's fine. If you have all day to make macaroni and cheese, great, kudos to you. But here we're using some steamed broccoli and some shells and cheese, and it was fire. All right, so this next recipe is called cracked chicken pasta. Now, you've probably heard of it before. It's all over Pinterest. It's kind of like a little casserole dish, but this one is just with pasta added. So the recipe calls for 4 large chicken breasts. As you can see on this day, I only had 2. And so I substituted for some chicken breast tenderloins that I had, and that's fine because the chicken's gonna be shredded anyway. Here, I'm just going to add in my seasonings, my ranch, and the cream cheese. And I am going to cover it and allow it to cook on low for 4 hours. Now, the chicken normally cooks a bit faster. You don't want the chicken to just dry out too much. Even though it's going to be shredded, you kind of still want to keep a watch on it if you can. So I would cook this on low for 4 hours and just keep checking it periodically if you're home that day. All right, so after it's nice and cooked, the chicken is done. I'm just going to pick it apart with some forks. So kind of just shred it like this and just kind of leave it in that mixture. If I could go back and recreate this recipe, I would add a little bit of heavy whipping cream or just some half and half to this, just depending on how much pasta you're going to use, just to kind of give it a little bit more of a creamy texture at the end. You'll see what I'm talking about at the end of the recipe. Now I'm just going to add my pasta and give it a really good mix in with the chicken. So at this point, the dish is pretty much done. It's complete. You're just adding in your cheese, your green onions, your bacon bits. And I did make my own bacon bits. And you're giving the cheese some time to melt. So I would just put it on high for a few minutes and just watch it until your cheese is thoroughly melted and your onions cook a little bit more. Now, as I was stating earlier, I would add a little bit of cream or something to this just to kind of give it a little bit more of a creamy texture. But, you know, it is cheesy enough. You do have cream cheese in there and you have cheese. But if you like a little bit more of a creamy, cheesy, stringy type of texture, I definitely add in some cream. And you can adjust the amount of chicken you use or the amount of pasta to your liking. But here is the finished product, cracked chicken pasta. All right, on to our very last recipe for this video. We're gonna do kind of like a Taco Tuesday type of dish. As you can see, I did run out of my Crockpot bag, so I'm just oiling the bottom of my Crockpot, and we're still gonna just go on with the show. So this is a Taco Tuesday type of dish that you can use. I just made like a Mexican chicken bowl, and I am using chicken breast here. You can put frozen chicken breast into the crock pot and it's still going to cook just fine. So this recipe just calls for 4 chicken breasts, and I'm just going to go on and season it up with my taco seasoning. Now I'm just adding in my crushed tomatoes, my green chilies, and my black beans and whole kernel corn. And then we're going to cover and we're going to cook on high for 4 hours. All right, you can actually remove the chicken from this mixture and shred it if you like, or you can keep it in there and just do it with 2 forks like I did on the last recipe. It's completely up to you. I never do the same thing twice. Listen, I just felt like removing it this day, so I removed it and I cut it and shred it in a different dish. It's fine. But I am going to go on and add in my cooked rice. I cooked this rice via stovetop, and it is jasmine rice. You can use any rice of your choice. You can use brown rice, you can use white rice, you can even add cilantro to the rice. That would actually make it so much tastier, just like Chipotle. But anyway, now I'm just adding my shredded chicken back to the mixture, and you're gonna see that I'm gonna give it a really good mix, get everything in there mixed really well, and then at the end, you know what comes at the end? Cheese. Just wait for it. What did I tell you? Cheese. Cheese, cheese, cheese. I just use the Kraft brand 4 cheese Mexican blend. It is so good with like your taco type of dishes. But that's it. You just turn the crock pot back on long enough for your cheese to melt and you are ready to serve. I'm also going to top it with some green onions. Guys, you can get real creative with this when you're using it for leftovers too. I mean, it can go into some nachos. You can like use it for nachos. You can use it for a burrito. You can use it for a taco. I just ate it as a bowl, but like on those days that we were using them for leftovers, like my family got really creative. I think the kids had nachos, and my husband, he actually made him like a burrito, and it just works. So, and it will last you for like 2 days. So if you're a leftovers type of cook, if your family likes leftovers, this is a really good dish to use for leftovers. Were able to find a couple of recipes that you think you might try. As always, list the ones that you think you might try down below in the comment section. Now, at the beginning of the video, I told you that I would address where I've been. And I actually am going to film a video to address all of that and just kind of let you know where I am with YouTube, how I'm feeling about YouTube, what type of content I want to create, where this channel is going, everything. So you definitely want to make sure that you are subscribed if you're not already, and you have your notification bell set so you can be notified when I upload that video. I'll see you guys next time.